Captain Ibrahim Traore, born in 1988 in Bondokuy, Burkina Faso, is a military officer and the current transitional president of Burkina Faso. He assumed power following a coup in September 2022, becoming the world's youngest head of state at that time. Traoré joined the Army of Burkina Faso in 2009 and graduated from the Georges-Namoano Military Academy. He was sent to Morocco for anti-aircraft training before being transferred to an infantry unit in Kaya, a town in northern Burkina Faso. Promoted to lieutenant in 2014, Traoré joined MINUSMA, a United Nations peacekeeping force involved in the Mali War. In 2018, he was cited as one of the MINUSMA soldiers who showed courage during major rebel attacks in the Tombouctou region. He subsequently returned to Burkina Faso where he assisted in operations against the escalating jihadist insurgency. Traoré fought at Djibo, in the Otapuanu offensive of 2019, and several other counter-insurgency operations in the country's north. He was promoted to captain in 2020. Traoré later said that he became disillusioned with his country's leadership around this time, as he saw the widespread lack of equipment of Burkina soldiers, while politicians were handing out suitcases of money for bribery. He gradually became the spokesman for soldiers stationed in the north who were frustrated over their government. Traoré was part of the group of army officers that supported the January 2022 Burkina Faso coup d'état and brought the patriotic movement for safeguard and restoration military junta to power from March 2022. He served as the head of an artillery regiment in Kaya. Whether he was ever associated with the Cobra Special Forces, a counter-terrorist unit founded in 2019, is disputed. According to the BBC, Al Jazeera, and Die Tageszeitung, he was part of the unit at some point. However, news magazine Jeune Afrique stated that he was never associated with the Cobras. Many supporters of the January coup became dissatisfied with the performance of Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba, the junta's leader, regarding his inability to contain the jihadist insurgency. Traoré later said that he and other officers had tried to get Damiba to refocus on the rebellion, but eventually opted to overthrow him as his ambitions were diverting away from what we set out to do. The dissatisfaction about the situation was highest among younger officers who fought against the rebels at the front lines. 12. In addition, there were delays in pay for the Cobra troops. As president, Traoré has maintained the enigmatic and very formal behavior for which he had already been known prior to rising to power. He has kept a tight control on his communication while carefully trying to present himself primarily as a war leader. His presidency has also seen an increase of pro-government propaganda in Burkina traditional media and social media. In April 2023, he declared a general mobilization of the population to support the military, as rebel forces continued to increase the rate of their attacks. Traoré publicly pledged to reconquer all rebel-held areas and that there would be no negotiations until the insurgency had been greatly weakened. In the following month, Traoré questioned the planned restoration of democracy for 2024, stating that elections could not be held unless the insurgents were pushed back and the security situation had been improved. On September 26, 2023, dissatisfied elements of the military again rose up and Traoré. National consultations were held on the 25th and the 26th of May 2024 to discuss the future of the transition in Burkina Faso. While participants included civil society representatives, most political parties boycotted the consultations. The result was the extension of Traoré's mandate for an additional 5 years while also allowing him to contest the next presidential elections. On the 6th of December, 2024, Traoré dissolved his government and removed Djibo as prime minister. In November 2023, Burkina Faso's Council of Ministers approved the construction of the country's first gold refinery. In February 2024, Traoré ordered the suspension of the issuance of export permits for small-scale private gold production, a move reportedly aimed at tackling which consists of smuggling gold abroad, avoiding taxes and regulations, and cleaning up the artisanal gold sector. This suspension aims to crack down on such activities and ensure that exported gold is properly documented and contributes to government revenue. The government hopes this suspension will establish a more formal and accountable system for exporting small-scale produced gold. In February 2023, Traoré's government expelled from Burkina Faso the French forces assisting in fighting the local insurgency. He subsequently declared that his nation wanted to look at other horizons, because we want win-win partnerships, supporting the diversification of Burkina Faso's international partnerships. Shortly after, Traoré's government expressed support for a federation with and both invited. All three countries are under military leadership and, if they were to become a union, would be the largest country ruled by military junta. To replace French military support, Traoré forged closer ties to Russia. According to Traoré was suspected of having a connection with Russian mercenary organization due to having expressed anti-French and pro-Russian views. As Traoré entered the nation's capital, supporters cheered, some waving the publicly alleged that Traoré began collaborating with the Wagner group following the coup, enlisting the mercenaries against the jihadist rebels. Traoré denied this, stating that our Wagner are the VDP, referencing the. On the 29th of July, 2023, following the, Traoré said that the people of his country support Russia, and communicated that a decision had been made to reopen the Russian embassy, which was closed in 1992. According to the newspaper in May 2023, the Traoré regime seems, for the time being, to be favoring the use of its own fur. Traoré has prioritized combating jihadist groups, expanding the Volunteers for the Defense of the Homeland, VDP, and creating specialized military units. Despite these efforts, insurgents control significant portions of the country, and violence has escalated. His administration has nationalized key mining operations, establishing the state-owned Société de Participation Minière du Burkina, SOPAMIB, to manage gold mines. He has also focused on agricultural development, aiming for 70% food self-sufficiency by 2027 through mechanization and support to farmers. Traoré has distanced Burkina Faso from former colonial power France, expelling French troops and suspending French media outlets. He has strengthened ties with Russia, Iran, and North Korea, and formed the alliance of Sahel states with Mali and Niger to address regional security challenges. Traoré's anti-colonial rhetoric and Pan-Africanist stance have garnered support among youth and those disillusioned with traditional leadership. However, critics point to the worsening security situation, human rights concerns, and delays in returning to civilian rule as significant issues during his tenure.